Let's freaking go! I want to do a quick video here on one of the most interesting high school-esque tapes I have ever seen. This is CONNOR GAILBRETH, a potential tight end slash offensive tackle that Mike Denbrock recently offered. And I'm going to tell you why today I think this tape in particular is very interesting. And even if he doesn't commit to LSU, I want to share with you what I believe Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock are looking for, right? So obviously in the background, you're watching pretty much him doing the same exact thing over and over and over and over and over again, right? All CONNOR GAILBRETH does, he doesn't really catch. He doesn't really do anything spectacular. He is just really good at blocking, right? Where he finds somebody and just drills that person deep into the second and third levels of the defense, okay? So I'm going to be honest with you. I am not sure if any of this would be able to translate to the SEC because what you're looking in the background here is this is a JUCO school, Boot College from way up north. But what I would say, whenever you add somebody like this to your room, he's nasty, right? Is most tight ends would rather catch than block, right? And the truth is there's not really that many great blockers at the tight end position, right? Like, for instance, Darnell Washington was a phenomenal blocker at Georgia, but those guys are few and far between, and he honestly was an athletic marvel, and I think he would tell you he would prefer to catch the football instead of actually block. But CONNOR GAILBRETH is a guy that LSU, if they were to land him, he very well could potentially play offensive tackle. I think it is a little bit of a stretch. I don't think he necessarily would be an offensive tackle that could help them out right away. He is 6'6". He obviously is in the high 260s when it comes to his weight. It is a lean 260 if you ask me. But him playing offensive tackle, I think that would be a year or two development. But what I think could potentially happen is he could come in right away and be a pure blocking tight end for LSU. And there's just not many great tight ends out there that are excellent, superb blockers. There's not many tight ends out there that truly are way better blockers than they are receivers. And they're not, I mean, look at where this was. Watch this. Okay, I don't care who you're going up against. All right, this is the left side defensive end in a 4-eye. All right, or straight ahead up 5, whatever we're going to call it. He is to the left right here, and look at where he ends up. Look at that. That is just insane. I don't care who it is. The fact that you are that tenacious and you are able to move them into a different time zone is absolutely incredible. So why I think this would be a very nice pickup for LSU is, number one, the tight end position is deeper than it was last year, whereas Mason Taylor and then a steep drop-off to Cole Taylor, and obviously Jack Mashburn, who was dealing with injuries. Same thing with Nick Storrs. But now you have 3 young freshman tight end. 2 of them are more receivers than they are tight end, in Jackson McGohan and Kamarion Pimpton. And Mac Markway is a pure blocking tight end, but he's had a lot of injury issues over the years. This guy right here, to go along with Giovanni Peterson, who is a walk-on, would really help out Mason Taylor and LSU's potential to run 12 personnel. And there you are in the background. You're seeing him play some fullback as well. I mean, feet, hands, everything is just – it's incredible. It is nothing short of incredible. So I understand there's no catches on this highlight tape. Who cares? That's actually a good thing. We got plenty of tight ends on this team can catch, right? Mason Taylor was one of the best true freshman tight ends ever at LSU. And Pimpton and McGohan are as good as it gets when it comes to being receivers, just being known as tight ends. this guy can block. And if he were to commit to LSU, he would immediately become LSU's best blocking tight end. And I think if you absolutely, positively needed him to go out there and catch a pass every now and then, he could do it. And he could give you some really good special teams reps, let's say as the inline guy on a field goal unit, a potential guy on a punt unit as one of the middle tier guys. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's so many different terms for that. The up back, whatever. I just would love this. I just think anytime you get one of these dudes that just are physical and they just love to just knock your mouthpiece out kind of guys, it helps. It absolutely helps. Even if it's not this year, this would be a very nice pickup for LSU. The tape is so much fun to watch. Like, I just like seeing old school guys. I saw a lot of this on Lance Hurd's tape as well. Just dudes that love to finish people, put you in the ground, put you into a different planet. I just love seeing that. So, Connor, if you're watching this, there is playing time available at tight end. This would open up some 12 personnel possibilities for LSU. And if LSU sees him just as an offensive tackle, then obviously I don't think he would be ready to play offensive tackle year one. They wouldn't need him to anyway, because LSU's relatively deep there with what they have returning. Just adding this kind of athlete to the room would be abso-freaking-lutely phenomenal. It's not your typical highlight tape, though. It is not, and that's what I love. It's a very unique thing. One final thing I would point out here is just in general, you don't find as many offensive linemen in the portal. They just don't exist, right? Skill position guys are far more prevalent in the transfer portal. There's been a lot of data on that from J. Bud Davis and many others, that it's easier to find skill guys that can catch, guys that can run out of the backfield. It's harder to find blockers, right? Because there's just not many people out there that enjoy the aspect of blocking. And just looking at some interviews and different excerpts from this young man, he actually loves to freaking block. So he is a 0-star recruit. I always cheer for those guys, especially if they get the glorious Power 5 offer. And this guy's getting offers from everyone right now, from Colorado all the way down to the SEC. I am looking at you. Yes, you. Right now. Okay, so I feel this is not quite a secret, but this was something that I saw LSU do when it comes to personnel groupings, 12 personnel, 11 personnel. For those that don't know what that means, the first number is the amount of running backs on the field on an offensive set, and the second number is the amount of tight ends. And what you can do is you can add those numbers together and subtract them from 5, and that will let you know how many wide receivers are on the field at one time. So what I want to show you is a goal line play that I charted during the season. And let's actually go to the initial formation. And LSU, as you saw, is in something called 14 personnel, which is something that is very rare. Okay, teams rarely go 14. So, yeah, 1 plus 4, that gives you 5. So that means that there are 0 wide receivers on the field at one time. And we elected to put 4 tight ends on the field. So Mason Taylor is in motion. You have Jack Mashburn here. He is no longer with the team. He is at the left tight end position. Cole Taylor is at the right tight end position. And right here is someone that you would not actually find on LSU's roster because he wasn't number 81 during the season. This is Marcus Dumerville, an offensive tackle who transferred to Maryland. Okay, so what LSU had to do towards the end of the year, Nick Storrs, wasn't available. They had to make Marcus Dumerville, an offensive tackle, a tight end so they can run these tight goal line formations. And they gave him number 81 so he could be an eligible receiver if they elected to actually throw him the football, which is not what they did on this run. As you'll see, Mason Taylor rotates to the right side of the formation. And now we have a bunch of beef right over here. I'm not the biggest fan of these tight formations when you just smash everybody in, but sometimes it works. It's what LSU elects to do. And now, if you get this young man, you don't have to force an offensive tackle to play tight end. And, of course, Noah Cain ended up scoring. And there you go. You see Marcus Dumerville there in that number 81 uniform. So, why show you that little clip right there? Well, a lot of different reasons. So, I highly recommend, before I share with you some thoughts here on Kamarion Pimpton and the LSU tight end room, I highly recommend you join the PHL Patreon, where we do deeper breakdowns. We just did one of our deepest Jaden Daniels film studies exclusively for our patrons, just a little bit a month. And if you sign up, I am hooking you up with an autograph card if you sign up from this video. Links are down below. Now, in the background, you're seeing some Kamarion Pimpton highlights, and long story short, you could see that this is a drastically different highlight tape than Connor Gilbreath, but they are both classified as tight ends, right? Basically, classifying both these guys as tight ends is saying that a Ferrari and a Mack truck are both automobiles, right? It's technically kind of sort of true how we group those two things together, but they couldn't be further from each other, if that makes sense, right? So the reason why it's important to bring in more blocking tight ends is because if LSU wants to run more 12, 13, 14 personnel in goal line settings, true freshman blocking tight ends that were mostly receivers in high school, it takes a while to get good at blocking. And Mason Taylor actually turned into being a pretty solid blocker for the position, but early in the season, he had some struggles, right? As a true freshman fall enrollee at a position that was so unbelievably shallow last year for LSU, it was a lot on his plate. So I just think building depth, and look, Georgia was the best offense in the sport last year, and it was because they had such great positional versatility at that tight end position where you were able to outflank and outnumber the box, and that gets very detailed. I won't go too deep into that. But look, this is really nice if LSU was able to bring in Connor Gilbreath, right? Jackson McGohan as a blocker as well. He's very much like Pimpton. He is a receiver first and a tight end second, right? For those that follow the NFL draft, the Bills drafted Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. They label him as a tight end, but he is essentially going to be the Bills' slot receiver. So there's a difference between a Y tight end and an F tight end and all these different things. But long story short, you can see how different this highlight tape is from Connor Gilbreath. And I would love to get Connor on campus. I really, really, really would. So comment down below if you found this helpful. I like LSU's tight end room next year. I think Pimpton is the real deal. I really do. And I think McGohan has some high upside as well. So, yes, Giovanni Peterson, very interesting walk-on tight end. I would love to have another scholarship tight end in the room because Mike Denbrock loves him some tight ends. He's the offensive coordinator. He's the one calling the shots. He's also the tight ends coach. So if Denbrock likes him, I'm probably going to like him too. So comment down below your thoughts on today's film study, okay? It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! And tonight, y'all, we're doing salmon tonight. Let's go.